Hello, everyone. I am Angela Oliphant, and this is Whole and Beautiful. And I am so glad that you all have joined me tonight for another night of information, revelation, and change. Tonight is going to be another phenomenal night. We're going to have an awesome time tonight. I have guests here with me tonight, as you see. It is Dana and Chauncey Fuller, and they're going to share in a segment that I call Couples Conversations. And I do this maybe once a month and have a couple come in to talk about marriage. And because we are talking about health during the month of October, I wanted them to come on and talk about a healthy marriage. And I am glad that they have joined me tonight. Welcome, Dana. Welcome, Chauncey.
Thank you, Angela.
I'm just going to read a little bit of the bio, and then we're going to go straight into the conversations. I thank everyone that's going to be tuning in. Remember, if you don't get this whole show tonight, you can go back and listen on tomorrow at 4 p.m. It will replay, but it will be posted on my page, Whole and Beautiful. It will be on ALH Broadcasting, and you can go to sibn.net, and you can watch it there also. Dana Fuller is the author of a couples devotional, Bridging the Gap, which contains 52 weeks of inspiration that will help you recreate your marriage according to God's original design. God has placed in Dana a desire to see heaven's best in marriages. I love that. And she knows it has always been the Father's will for husbands and wives to enjoy wholeness and fullness in their marriages. And I love that she said the wholeness and the fullness, because that's what we are talking about during our show. Is we're talking about being whole and not missing out on anything God has for them. In Genesis 24, the latter part of it, and they shall be one flesh. Dana has seen that the shall be is a process which one must pray, read the word of God, listen to the voice of the Spirit, and work the marriage. She knows you can't be so prophetic that you neglect the practical, or so spiritual that you overlook the simple. That is so true, because I see so many marriages in that where they take it one way or the other, and it's just too much, and people end up splitting over just because one person is going in this direction, trying to be too prophetic or too spiritual, or not being practical and not being simple with things, and really just getting to know each other. Dana and Chauncey, can you just share a little bit about your marriage, how you met? And I know that you said on here that you've been married for 33 years. That's a while. That's a while to be together. So can you just share with us how, first of all, how you all met, and then how you have started walking into the devotional, and how you came about with that also?
Okay, you want to start? Well, I think we met at a concert. It was a church concert, and there was no butterflies. I remember him telling me that I was going to be an old maid, and that's in one of the devotion in the book, I believe. I was going to be an old maid, never to marry because I was so old fashioned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but there was no butterflies. The earth didn't move. There was no trembling or anything like that. But I think what was so profound with us is that we started out as friends. There was no connection. There was no love connection. And I think we discovered, how people say you fall in love.
Right.
And I believe if you fall in love, you can fall out of love.
Okay.
But I believe we discovered love. And that's just spending time with each other, going to the movies, going to dinner. And I think that's where our relationship really started evolving. Was just spending time with each other and saying, wow, I think this could be my lifetime partner. So I think that's basically how we started, our relationship started.
So it all started with being friends.
Yes, yes. It was just, and I think even in our 33 years of marriage, I do believe that that's what has kept us. Even those times where I didn't like him, he didn't like me. I think that because we started as friendship, we have all these different types of love. We have the eros, we have the agape, we have the filial love. But I think if we started this high with this eros, this exotic love, you don't have anywhere to go. But the foundation is friendship, and let see what goes after that, and build on the friendship. And I think that's what has really our friendship, even to this day, we are just truly, really best friends. So
And that is awesome. I love that because a lot of times, well, I had told some people, and some people agree with me, some people did not. I was like, love to. They asked what love was, and to me, and I was like, love is a choice. Like I choose to love that person, but the friendship with the friendship, like you were saying, building that friendship and then having that as a sure foundation for your for a marriage even to come about, or
yeah,
for that love to be able to grow is good, because a lot of people get together and they're looking for the butterflies. They're looking for this just thing that's going to happen. That's just oh, that's the person. Yeah,
yeah,
all the booms and all of the flowers, and it's like,
yes,
and they have this all set up in their head.
yeah,
And when it doesn't happen that way, they were like, oh, that's not the person for me. And that could very well be the person for you, but you haven't taken the time to get to know who that person is.
yes, yeah.
So how did you come about with the devotional that you put together?
Well, for about 2 years, I just had just a pull in me for couples. I was just so many people that I knew that were struggling. We were even that couple, that struggled in our relationship where I felt like we were drifting apart. And I just wanted to really just reach out to couples and just give them hope. And I had talked to Chauncey, and I want to say this because he's always been my best supporter. He cheers me on. He encouraged me even when I didn't want to go and do the devotions, to do the book. He always said, "What did God tell you to do?" So I think I want to just give him kudos for just really just pushing me into the things that God has placed in my heart. That's a support. He's always supported me in everything, school, everything that I put my mind to do. He's always been there to support me. And so I started doing just a couple's devotion. We had started a site called Love for a Lifetime, and I just started writing devotions, whatever I could be in the garage, and he's working in the garage, and it was about tools. And I said, oh wow, that would be a great devotion. Just
Wow.
tools and practical tools for your relationship. There's just simple things in our daily, how Jesus taught with parables, things that we
Yes.
relate to. So I always would choose devotions that people could relate to. And it was like one was about tools and what's some tools in your that you would use in the natural, and just putting those tools, a hammer, hammering out things that are or hammering down, getting that nail that thing down with that hammer.
Yes.
The things that is causing the gap in your relationship, the things that are causing walls to putting walls around your relationship versus building a bridge and something. And so just the Holy Spirit told me bridging the gap for the
Wow.
book, the title of the book. It was just from the Holy Spirit, and I kept trying to get around it. And I was like, oh, that's not really a good title for a book. And it wasn't so about a good title. It was the godly thing. It was a godly
Right.
thing. And that's how the book came about. And just when we say building, I constantly say this to couples, that walls separate us, it secludes us, and bridges bring us together. And there's maintenance, even with the Brooklyn Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, all these bridges that we cross, people cross daily.
Yes.
Thousands, millions of people cross the Golden Gate Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge. But there's maintenance. There was the money that took that went into building those bridges. First the blueprint, then purchasing the materials. But even once the bridge was completed, there's maintenance that has to take place on those bridges. And there's just like in your marriage, there's maintenance that has to take place. And I think so often we put so much time in the wedding that we forget the marriage. I have friends, I'm not knocking my friends, thousands and thousands of dollars in weddings, but nothing was invested into the marriage. And I think if we sort of revisit and switch that, if we can put $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into a wedding, can we put that into our marriage? Because that's a ceremony. It's a ceremony, and it's only 20 minutes at the max. It's about a 20-minute ceremony, but we won't go and purchase a $20 book for our library. So
yes, I totally agree. I really do. Oh man, if I had some pom poms and stuff, and I'd be cheering you on, because so many people, and I have watched people do that. Yes. In their marriages, where they concentrate so much on that wedding day, and then after that they're not putting that much energy into their marriage, and they don't see it as like, I told somebody, I was like, I feel like it's like two businesses that merge together, and then you got to work it, because if you're not working it, it's not going to work for you.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, it's a lot that people deal with. And then I was looking at some statistics where they were saying like 50%, from 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce or separation. Yes. And I was like, that's a big number.
Yes.
And
it's in the body of Christ.
Yes. And I was like, that ought not to be. Yes. It really shouldn't be that way. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, what would you say would be like the number one thing what causes marriages to pull apart, with what you've seen or what you've studied?
For us, what you want to go ahead and talk about?
Lack of effective communication, because a lot of times couples or partners, they communicate, but you have the nonverbal communicate. Well, I didn't say anything, but you did say something. Your body language is telling us what you want to say. Yeah. So effective communication, that's a lot of things. Be able to learn how to effectively communicate, and also to listen, to understand, not to respond. Because a lot of times when the other party is telling you how they feel or what is going on, how they feel about the situation, you're in your mind thinking, okay, I'm ready. Oh, I'm gonna get this.
When you're done,
I'm gonna tell you, wear her out or wear him out about it. But no, we have to get to the point where we're listening to understand that person's point of view, what they're feeling and what they're telling you, and not just to respond. Yes. Because a lot of times early in marriage, it's about getting your way. You shall become one. It's a process. But that's a process. That doesn't happen overnight. The two shall become one. Yeah. So in the beginning, although we married and we said we're in this thing together, when it gets to the point where we have a disagreement, it's about my way. And each one of so it gets to the point where you have to learn that it's not about your way, his way, it's about our way. And finding our way together.
Coming to a medium.
Yeah, and coming to that agreement, because I so agree, because I was just talking to somebody today about effective communication. Yeah. I was like, you're saying one thing, and then somebody else is saying other things, and people don't understand. They're coming from different backgrounds, and they're coming from different places. So you're bringing those two people together, and you have to learn each other and know each other, and you're going to do that by communicating. I can't expect you just to know, because a lot of people just expect you just to know I don't like that, or just to know I didn't particularly care for this, that, or the other, and you don't know. And they may expect you to begin to do something, and you was like, I never knew to do that. I didn't grow up that way.
And
but go ahead.
We call that unspoken expectations.
Okay.
We call that unspoken expectation. I expect you to do this. I expect you to do that, but you never share that. Yes. I never, I always say, I used to think he should have ESP. he should be able to know what I'm thinking, but I never shared that with him. And I think if couples from the beginning talk about that, even through counseling, we didn't get counseling. We did read a lot of books on our own, but I think counseling would have really been beneficial to all of us. And I think I honestly believe that before you even put a ring on someone's finger, even before you ask that person to say I do to, if you haven't been, I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you haven't gone through counseling. And when I say counseling, I mean counseling as far as finances, counseling as far as your sex drive, what's your sex level. We don't talk about those things.
No, we don't.
We don't talk about those things, but finances, how we're going to do the finances, how are we going to raise the children. All those things should be, before you say I do to someone, you shouldn't say, wait a minute, is there anything that I'm going to be going through counseling that's going to be a deal breaker?
Yes. And that's something that you said, because a lot of times we don't deal with those issues ahead of time. Like y'all had said before, everybody's concentrating on the marriage and the dress and the ceremony, but you're not talking about those issues. You're not effectively communicating about those, and you're expecting that person just to know, oh, we're going to get married and we just going to know what to do. And a lot of people don't communicate. I look at myself as one of those people because I got married really young, but then I later on, when I looked at it, I'm recently divorced. I've been divorced now like about 4 years, but I have been married almost 30.
Okay.
But I looked at the thing and I said, something, that was like lack of communication and not effective communication and not really being able to communicate and not even really having the counseling ahead of time and talking about all those differences.
Yes.
And I think that if all those differences may have been talked about, things may have gone like in a different way, but things were not discussed, and people, and not talking is not going to help anything. So we have to learn how to communicate, and we got to learn to talk about those things that we normally don't talk about. Because like even in church, like if you're talking about, like you were talking about the finances and the sex drive and the kids and all this other stuff, sometimes people like they just pumping you up for the marriage, but they don't say, hey, wait a minute, have you talked about these things with the person you're saying that you want to spend the rest of your life with? Because those can bring that those are things that can bring about issues later on, because people just kind of stuff it down and don't say anything.
Yes. And it becomes bitter.
Yes.
Resentment, bitterness sets in. And something that Chauncey and I even say with bitterness, we said bitterness goes down to your soul. When you think about anger is surface, you see it, you know that person angry, but bitterness it's a silent bomb.
Subtle.
But it's there. But the thing about it is, if you never talk about it, guess what it does? It grows inside of you. And it explodes, and it causes you to resent the person versus you connecting to that person that you said I do to forever.
Right. This is just good information. I'm loving this. I thank you all for everybody that's on here right now. Thank you all for joining. I hope that you're getting a great information tonight. Y'all can put up questions if you have questions, and if we can get to them, we will. If not, I will make sure that Dana and Chauncey gets the questions and they can respond to you. I wanted to ask you all, what do you think are like the top 5 things that will help a marriage to be healthy, to build it like on that good foundation thing, the foundational things, the top 5, what would you say would need to be?
Well, first one is what we've already been talking about, effective communication. And I alluded to the nonverbal communication. I didn't say anything, but I'm rolling my eyes or I'm standing defensive. I didn't say anything though. But it has to be effective communication, learning to communicate effectively. That's number one. And actually, these are not in priority, but there are 5 things.
Okay.
Oh, and then we talked. Something else that we said was support. I think the greatest thing that we can do for one another is support each other's dreams, support each other's admirations, support in the workforce. And I know I say that because I was guilty of that with him, where I would want to come home and talk about my job.
Yeah. I started talking about my job, and she's like, "Oh, here he goes." I'm like, "I listened for you for 45 minutes, so give me 30."
So I had to, and I think what I did was he just wanted to he was just venting it. He was just I had to just let him, he didn't want me to respond. It was just for me to just hear his frustration and not say anything. And just, even if I would just nod my head and say, "Oh, okay, babe. Okay." But I'm saying, well, why didn't you do this? And why didn't you say this? And why didn't
and one thing about in the business world, she works in a child care. She knows about child care. She knows how to take care of the children. She has a lot of patience with the children, and she has a passion to do that. I'm in the business world. I worked in HR. But I know about my job. I know about how our people are doing, and I know how to handle our people. But she's looking from the outside and saying, "Well, why you did that?" Well, I didn't tell you all of the story. I only told you that part of the story, so you don't know the other part. So you're telling me and giving me opinion of part of the story. So that's where we have to come to a point, because I got to a point, I said, I'm not gonna say anything until she starts talking about her job. When she starts talking about job, then I'm talking about mine.
But I had to learn that he just wanted me to listen. That's just a way of supporting him. It's just listening to his heart, hearing his frustration without judgment, and allowing him to feel safe to share what he's feeling without me judging, or without me having a rebuttal, or without me having a response to what he was saying.
Unsolicited advice.
But I think just supporting each other in everything. He's just retired, and he's going and doing real estate, and just me being there to support him. He has all these different, now he's showing homes, and I'm just there to support him. He said, "Oh, I'm going here." Support him with his mom. He moved his mom here from Florida. He goes and sits with his mom, just being there, just support. For me with school, I just finished my degree, but he was there to support me in that, and it just really in everything, just being. So we said communication, just supporting each other. What was another one we said? Respecting one another. And I think for especially, it's something about women demand respect, but I think for a male, it's a little different. I think, and how should I say? I think for men, because sometimes they may not get that respect in the society, in the secular world. So I think it's so important when they come in, for both male and female, but it's just something about that man. He's the priest, he's the protector, he's the provider, for him to get that from his spouse. I think that is so important for him to feel like my she's respecting me, she's honoring me. And I think often
that is very key, because a lot of times in the workforce or in other places, men are beat up. We don't talk about and we don't share that we are beat up, or we feel like we've been beat up. And when we come home, and to have a wife who respects us, that's key. That and I mean, that's a necessity. I totally agree with that.
And then we had, of course, trust. And something that our Bishop Godby always says, he says, trust is given, but mistrust is earned. You know,
Wow.
we you know, even our children, people say, oh, you trust your children? I say, yes, I trust my children. But when that trust is broken, then they have to earn that trust.
Right.
I'm not going to not trust you until you give me reasons to not trust you. So trust is given, but mistrust is earned. You have to earn that trust back in relationship.
Wow. Wow.
And then
So, no, go ahead. The last one I was about to ask, what's the last one?
It's love.
The last one is love. And I say that because everything about God was always about love.
Yes.
And I know people say, what's love got to do with it? But it has a lot to do with it. I think that's so important. And we think about, for God so loved, everything he did for us was out of love. You know, he gave. So in my relationship, that's my heart, is to give. Even with Chauncey, you know, we always say we don't compete the only thing that we compete in our relationship is to outlove each other. I'm gonna outlove you loving me, and you outlove me loving you. That's the only competition that needs to go on in a relationship, because we're on the same team. So if he wins, guess what? I'm winning. We winning, you know.
Yes. And I've seen that with I heard a couple that talked about it, and I can't remember their name. It's been some years ago, but they said they try to outserve each other. So it's like whoever, they're trying to outserve the other one. So they're always doing something for their spouse.
Yes.
Trying to one up them in servanthood to each other. And I was like, oh, that is awesome. That is awesome to do. Because a lot of times we don't do that. We just kind of push it off. And people don't, like you were saying, putting the work in. They don't put the work in. They just expect it to work.
Yeah.
We just gonna come together and it's just gonna work. And it don't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
But what advice would you give to a couple that feel like they've been like they're not together on the same page? They've been together for a while, and they feel like they are growing apart, because as you were talking about, you were saying that you grow together, and you grow, and it's different seasons, different stages and stuff. So what type of advice would you give someone who is like wanting to grow in their marriage, but they feel like they're so apart from each other?
Wow, we talked about this, and so you want to talk about
that? Yeah, because you can take it.
Okay.
The first thing I think what we both thought about was go back, think about what caused you guys to connect from the beginning. So how did you guys connect? What was it that drew you together? So go back to that place when you actually were connected. So reflect on that, not reflect on what it is now. What was it that got you to where you are now? That's number one.
And I want to just say a little bit about that, is because I know how I felt about him. It was like we would be on the phone. I would have $500 phone bills because I hear his voice. You know, I would fall asleep on the phone. Where he would, and I wake up to the dial tone because he don't hung up. He was saying, "Oh," I said, "You hung up." He said, "No." He said, "You were asleep. You fell asleep." And I wanted to
I'm not paying for sleep.
we were in a long distance relationship, but I wanted to hear his voice. I wanted to be in his presence. I just wanted him. I wanted him. And even those times where I loved his smile, I loved his wink, I loved his lazy eye. So all those things that drew me to him from the beginning was those things I had to, even those seasons that I had, oh my goodness, he is getting on my nerves. You know, I reflect back. And then when something you said was, if I feel like this, and I say sometimes feelings are, and I say this is something that I always say, feelings are fickle. Yes. You don't feel like going to work,
but you still go.
But you go. You didn't feel like writing that thesis paper, but you did it.
But you did it.
You did it. So it's a choice. So don't always go about, oh, I just don't feel like I'm connected. Yeah, there are times where we did, but I feel this way, but okay, you got that feeling, you arrest that feeling. Now, what am I going to do with that feeling?
Right.
We're going to have those. If anybody said it never felt that, I want to meet them. I want to meet them. 33 years. I felt like, oh, you know what? There's just no, I felt like we were just so disconnected. We could never agree on anything. I'm like, what in the, and we were looking at each other and say, what in the world, we had to, even in that, we had to say, wait a minute, yep, this is how I feel. But we said divorce was never an option for us. No matter how we felt, we stayed committed, and we say, wait a minute, what can we do? Because we changed. I know I am not that little quiet, little timid girl that I was when I married him. Not at all. But we change and we grow. But it's not about growing apart. And then sometimes you have to say, wait a minute, you know what? Oh, you know what? This doesn't interest me anymore. This doesn't interest me anymore. Okay, what's something what can we do? Johnson and I just did something on Facebook, spicing up your relationship. We said it was spicing up your bedroom.
Yes.
I came home, especially since I love him being retired. And I came home, the whole bedroom was changed around. I'm like, I don't know if it was just in my mind, but I slept like a baby. I mean, I saw the whole bedroom was changed around. I say, we're telling the couples, change your bedding, change the lighting, put a new rug, get some more throw pillows, change it up. If you say, I feel like we're drifting, okay, what are you doing different? Do something. Right. What's something common that you guys, or something? We're doing dance lessons now. We've never, 33 years. So it's just doing something different that's going to bring a connection and bring you back together. And I think, I don't know if you want to say something else with that.
That's pretty good. And what other thing, and we talk about feelings, but a lot of people, I think a lot of us experience, there are people that call in sick. They may call into their job because they don't feel like coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
But how many of us don't feel like going to work? But we go through and we go on going to work and we have an awesome day.
Yeah.
Yes.
We would have never gotten to the awesome day had we not gone past that feeling. So in relationships and marriages, you have to get past the feeling to see the glory, I guess, if you will.
Wow. Yes. I love that. That is good. Oh, this is good advice. I mean, these are good nuggets. This is good word. I love it, because so many couples, they need to be open. They need to know that to be able to talk to, especially talking to another couple, and they can like pour into them and talk to them. So that to me is so good to have, because a lot of people don't, and they're not really open when they're talking to each other, let alone being open with another couple. And they need to have more ministries like what you're doing, so that they can be open and get things out. Because I really believe it, if things are open and people are really having effective communication, things can turn around.
Yes, absolutely.
They can really turn around, because if you have both people willing to work at it, it's going to turn around. Yes. And we would have less divorce and less separation, because they're coming in for the right reasons.
Yes.
And they're working through everything and not going by what we feel.
What we feel. I love that.
What we feel. Those feelings change.
Sometimes we are a roller coaster. You're up today, down tomorrow, you're in, out, left, right. But
yes,
it's a choice. Like you said earlier, it's a choice to love. Love is a choice. Commitment is a choice.
It's
not
a choice.
Not contentment, but
right.
We want to stay when things are feeling good. But it's about commitment. Is about staying committed, not when things are just going well.
Right.
Anyone can stay in something that's going well, but You know, I heard something many years ago that you never know how strong your marriage is. Marriage is like a tea bag. You never know how strong it is until you put it in hot water.
Yes.
And anything that's pressured, when you're being pressured into something, it produces. Pressure produces something. You know, when you think about even when you're on an airplane, the pressure causes the plane to go up. So if you're being pressured, trust me, you get ready to go up. But a lot of times I think when couples are being pressured, they exit out. And that's not, it's not about exiting out, it's about exiting up. Not even going up in that relationship. And I'm telling you, we have been pressured. We were pressured, but we chose not to go out, but we chose to go up.
Yes. I was like, I love that. Exit to go up. Don't exit and go out. You're going up, not out. That and pressure produces. Yes, it does. It does. One other question I have here, and I want to get some other stuff in because our time is like really going really fast, and I'm gonna have to have y'all come back and talk again because I have so much that I want. But y'all make sure that y'all get the book. Get the book. Can you give them the name of the book before I ask this next question?
I have it right here.
Yes.
It's Bridging the Gap Couples Devotion Book, and yours is in the mail.
Thank you.
And you can go onto Barnes and Noble. You can go into Amazon, or you can just we can mail the book to you all. It's up to you all.
And if you want the book, just you can send me an email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will make sure that they get the information so that you can get your copy of the book. Get the book. I haven't got mine yet. It's going to be coming in the mail, and I'm going to read my book, and it's going to help me. even with the bridging of the gap, because with everything that I've been through, I was like, this is still going to help because I was like, God, I still want to be married. I really do. I feel like that's a part of who I am. That's me. I want to be married. So I'm believing that God is going to work that out for me. And so I love information anyway. So the book is going to help. And during this time that I'm by myself, I was like, okay, I can get all the information that I can get.
Absolutely.
So I am well equipped with what I need. But the next question, which let me get this in real quick. What advice would you give to the newly married Dana and Chauncey when they first got married? If you could go back and talk to that young couple, what would you say to them? What type of advice would you give to them?
Well, I think the first thing is no matter how much we tell people or we hear, don't try to change your partner. Every time somebody get married, they try.
Yeah.
No matter how much we say, do not. How much you hear it all the time. You can't change your spouse. You can't. But every time we get married, we try. So I would say, number one, don't try to change your partner. Learn your partner and try to adjust and be effective in your communication and effective in your relationship. Don't try to change them. So that would be one, to really reiterate the fact not to try to change your spouse.
And I think for me it was just I would have come in with more effective communication, because we were on totally different pages. What we learned, like I said, I really thought that he should know what my heart desires were, but I didn't share them with him. And so I think that's really effective, really going into your relationship, really talking it all out, putting it all out on the table, don't leave anything unturned.
Awesome. I saw someone put up a question asking, are there going to be any more books coming soon?
We'll mail you your copy.
We don't know. We'll see.
my goodness, this is just so good. But could you tell the listeners just a little bit about what you're doing on Mondays and how what you're doing on Monday nights?
Well, Monday night we call it M3 Monday Marriage Moments with the Fullers, and we just give 7, 8 minute max little nuggets on relationships. We would talk about spicing up your relationship. We talked about effective communication. We had another for the whole month. We did Q&A, so we had question and answers with the Fullers. So just sharing different things. Just what we do. We just started bicycling, so we share that and share how I haven't gotten around the corner yet with that.
A lot of talk. We're going a mile. We're going a mile. A lot of talk. Barely. And the other ones who saw the recap after our bike ride, they know that I barely made it around the block. Barely. But you guys already know that. But yeah, she'll get around the block sooner or later. But we just some nuggets to just help couples in their relationship, that wherever that gap is, you know, when that gap comes, to just do something to bridge it. And that's just really about what Monday Marriage Moments is about. Just moments. We just sharing our moments with the world to let you know that, you know what, you can make it in this relationship, but you have to put in the work. We put in work for everything else. Everything else. We put time into everything else. Some people brag about, oh, I had someone to tell me I worked 40 hours on my job.
Yes. Yeah.
80 hours. 80. I'm sorry. She said she did 80 hours. Oh, okay. She did 80 hours. And I'm sitting here like, but you got to put that same time into your relationship.
Yes.
It's not just going to happen.
Right. It's not just going to happen. It's not. And that's Mondays at 6:30?
6:30, yes.
And is that on your Facebook page?
Yes, on my Facebook page.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And our time is up. Okay. It's already gone, but I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I want to thank you for the information that you have given out tonight. And I pray that it's going to bring a revelation and bring about some changes in some marriages and some relationships, that they'll begin to grow, all because of what they heard tonight. And we're going to look forward to the Fullers coming back sometime and sharing some more couple conversations with us, so that your marriage can grow. Because I really want everyone's marriage to be whole, and I want it to flourish. And I love to see it when a couple is working together and moving together. That is awesome for me to see, and I love that. So I thank you, Fullers, for joining me tonight.
Thank you. And Miss Angela. We enjoyed it. It was just fun, because this is just who we are.
Yes. And I love that, because it's like, okay, they bounce back off of each other and talk. It's really good. It is really good. So guys, I thank you for joining me tonight. I thank you, my whole and beautiful nation, for being here. And join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. You can see the replay, or you can meet me back here next week, Friday at 7 p.m. where Whole and Beautiful will be back on. We are showing you how that you're whole and beautiful. Your journey is whole and beautiful. It's not just your destination of where you're going to and where you're going to reach, but the journey can be whole and it can be beautiful. So until we meet next time, have a good night and have a great weekend. Make sure you tune in to the Fullers on Mondays, okay? All right, good night, everybody.
Thank you.